Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network here, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Certainly glad you've tuned in. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Brought to you by Central Bank of the Ozarks, Shelter Insurance, Bank of Billings, Labor's Local 663, Dope Propane, Great Southern Bank, and the Missouri Highway Patrol. Going to the Ozark Conference here as we continue our basketball previews. Head boys basketball coach at Parkview High School, Landon Cornish, joins us. Coach Cornish, hey, thanks for your time today.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, Guy. Excited to be here.
Coach, 14-11 last year, but I think what goes maybe under the radar a little bit is you won 9 of your last 11 games. Got hot there towards the end of the regular season. Kind of put a bow on last season for you. And where are you going from this year? Who have you got to replace in your lineup due to graduation? And who are some of those guys that are going to maybe hopefully step up and take some of those points?
Yeah, last year we had a lot of different things happen. I think last year was a challenge for everybody with COVID and a lot of the different stuff we were dealing with. For the first 3 quarters of the season, we didn't have our kids in the building every day. That was a big challenge as far as where kids are at and how they're going to be around, out of a routine. They show up 2 days a week. They're at home 3 days a week. So there was just a lot of different challenges for us. With kids being virtual and different things, we lost some kids academically at semester. We were also playing some sophomores and some young guys early. So typically for us, we play a really tough schedule, especially at the beginning of the year. We went through a stretch last year where we played Nixa 3 times in a month. And that's a tough thing to do when you're playing a team that's their caliber. So we kind of got some things figured out late, which is kind of our goal always, is to be playing our best basketball at the end of the year. So I was happy with what we did. Obviously, we fell a little bit short, falling in a district championship game to a really good Waynesville team. So, but we made a lot of progress throughout the year and played a lot of young guys. We're going to return about 80% of our scoring from last year. Elijah Whitley was an all-state player as a junior in Class 6, averaged 19 points a game. He's got some low major Division I offers, Division II offer from Drury this week. He's a really good player. So for him to come back as a senior is big for us. He's a good leader, extremely hard worker, and very talented. We also returned 2 guys as sophomores last year that were all district players, and Kevin Parker and Amari Clark. They both averaged about 9 points a game as sophomores. So we look for them to step up and have big years as juniors. And then Shane Glass was an all-conference defensive player. That's 6'4", a wing that's really athletic. That'll see, will start for us this year and be an impact guy. So, we lost some good senior leadership, but the core of our team offensively and defensively is back. So we're excited about that.
Coach, as you go in, you mentioned that tough schedule that you've got. You start off with a tip-off classic. Then you got the RVS Classic, which is always very much look forward to here in Southwest Missouri. Can you tell us some of the teams that are going to be participating there? But then you come out of that, you got Nixon Rogersville.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just one of those things that our program understands that we're not really, obviously you want to win every game that you play. But the big picture is that we're trying to get prepared for the, things down the season. We're starting out in the BSN Tip-Off Classic in Raleigh this year against a really good Troy Buchanan team up around the St. Louis area that will be a challenge for us. So I think that'll be good for us to prepare before we start with the RVS Classic. In the RVS, we have Fayetteville coming up from Arkansas along with Rogers Heritage out of that 6A West down there. Lee Summit West will be new this year. Raytown out of Kansas City with them as well. And then from St. Louis, we have Lafayette, and then Jeff City Helias will be back. And Helias has a really good point guard in Des White, who's picked up some high major offers this fall. And then us and Kickapoo as the 2 local teams. So you got 8 really quality teams coming in. So it's a challenge every game. All 3 of those games will be tough no matter who we draw.
Well, it's always just a fantastic tournament. I've enjoyed covering it the last 3 years and being a part of it, and actually going to the luncheon and interviewing some of the kids and the coaches and getting to put that information out there. And I've really made some lifelong connections there, especially with Fayetteville. They've always reached out to me.
Yeah, those guys are all excited again. I mean, I think that's just something we can do that's neat with RVS, and they're excited about that. And they're obviously a great sponsor for our tournament. We wouldn't be able to do it without them bringing in all these teams, and as far as them, handling travel arrangements and food and things like that to get these guys on the radio and that experience. That's one thing that we always get really positive feedback for is, just the way that Southwest Missouri treats basketball in these tournaments. That's why we're able to get these out-of-town teams that look forward to coming to a tournament like this. Some of those extra experiences that we can provide. So appreciate you doing that. And I know they look forward to it every year.
And Coach, just, for the viewers out there around the state, kind of give a little bit of your background. I know, You played at Lockwood, played for a Hall of Fame coach, and your father there at Lockwood got to see you kind of grow up, coach
Yeah.
against you, and take us from there, from Lockwood, and then how did you arrive at Parkview, and how long have you been there?
Yeah, so I started out in Springfield, going to, when I was in college at Missouri State. Obviously coaching was probably in my future, and that's where I wanted to begin. So I started coaching at Glendale when I was in college at 21. I was still a junior in college, and I started coaching Glendale with Sean Williamson. From there, I went with Coach Schaefer to Hillcrest, and I was with John for 4 years. We were fortunate to win a state championship there as an assistant. I went to Moberly Junior College after that to work for Jay Spoonhour, which was another great experience, and just kind of grow and get out of your comfort zone a little bit and do different things and learn from other people. And I think that was really important in my career. And then at the end of that season, I really wasn't planning on it, but just kind of the way things work out sometimes, it worked out. I got to go to Webb City and be the head coach there. It's probably a little bit earlier than I would have projected in my career to take on a job there, but it worked out, and I was there for 4 years, had 4 good years. And then when I really, had the opportunity to come back to Springfield, that was kind of a no-brainer, and just get back in this area of basketball, and an opportunity to come to Parkview, which has been great to me and a great place. And this is year 7 now. I feel like our program's at a good place. We've established ourselves and have done a lot of good things. Able to win a district championship, and we'll be playing in our second tournament of champions in the last 4 years this year, which is, huge for our program and for our kids. We've had a lot of good kids be able to move on here and be successful in college, and that's something that's important to us too. Sometimes you don't see that on wins and losses, but when you get those kids in college and you talk to them later, you realize there's bigger things than winning and losing a couple basketball games here and there. So we're proud of those things, and just the things we have coming up this year. We're really excited about our schedule and this team.
Who has influenced you, and who do you call? Obviously you've got a guy you grew up with that's a Hall of Fame coach, and Dennis Cornish. You mentioned Jay Spoonhour, John Schaefer, if you can get him to answer the phone. But who do you call when you've got questions?
Yeah, obviously it's pretty easy to pick up the phone and call your dad about anything when you need something like that. That's a pretty good reference to have, someone to go back on. I kind of kid with him because I get to the point before I call him, I know what he's going to say. But that just helps me in general, just to kind of verify those things. If that's already in your head and you're pretty sure that's what he's going to say anyway, then that's probably the right way to go about it. So anything that kind of have some of those pop up, that's a pretty easy call. And then obviously John and I's relationship, we go through a lot of the same things, the same experiences, Hillcrest to Parkview. So that's pretty easy conversation when we have things that we need to discuss and go over. But just been fortunate to, get to know a lot of really good people. I have, great assistants. I've got an assistant on staff who's been head coach and won a district championship before, and Kyle Johnson, who was at Spokane. Zach Julian, my other assistant's been with me for 7 years and just kind of knows all those experiences and those things we're going through. So I think when you can have a really good staff behind you, it makes life a lot easier. So obviously this job is tough to do, but when you've got good people in your corner, it definitely is a benefit.
Visiting with head Parkview Vikings basketball coach, Landon Cornish. And Coach Cornish, what are you guys doing right now to kind of get prepared for the season?
We're, with the new mission rules and everything, kind of being able to be a little bit more active with our guys, it has been beneficial for us, especially for our younger guys. One thing, people understand a little bit in Springfield that we have multiple different feeders and people kind of show up out of different programs. So it's not like we have a true system that's established in junior high as some of these other schools are able to do. So for us, it takes a little bit longer to get these younger guys acclimated to our system and the expectations and the way that we're trying to do things. So I think this extra time has been good for us to kind of just start a little bit earlier with those freshmen. So we've used that hours. We spend a lot of time in the weight room right now and in conditioning to make sure we're in the best shape possible to get them going. And we got a couple more weeks left before the season starts. So we go out every Tuesday night. So we'll go tonight for an hour and a half and make sure that we're putting those guys through some of our preseason stuff and our drills to make sure they can kind of hit the ground running that first day of practice.
You bet. Well, hey, Coach Cornish, I know we'll visit here as the season continues, but best of luck. And thanks so much for your time today.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you.
Landon Cornish, Parkview Vikings head boys basketball coach here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSports.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Keep it right here at MissouriSportsNetwork.com.